Hi you guys, and welcome to another episode of Irish Country Life here in the west coast of Ireland on this glorious sunshiny day. It's 26 to 28 degrees today. It's a day for the beach. However, I'm not at the beach today because firstly, Scooter has gone on a date. He has gone to Cloud9 agility course. He doesn't know where he's gone with Peggy, but he's actually gone, in other words, to the doggy gym. He ain't going to be very happy with me when he returns, but to make things a little bit sweeter for him, I've made his favourite, ginger cake. Sticky, sticky, sticky ginger cake. That's what I'm going to make. But what inspired me this morning when I woke up to make this video for you today was I opened my curtains from my bedroom and I spotted that we had some flowers on the magnolia tree, which flowers normally in April. But for some reason this year, I've got another flush of flowers and it's now September. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, we're not going to question it. We're going to enjoy it. So I'm just going to go around the garden and just quickly point out a few bits and pieces that I think look amazing at the moment. And then we'll head off inside and we'll make that very, very nice, sticky, simple, easy ginger cake for Scooter and Peggy when they return, because I have a funny feeling I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. When Scooter gets angry, you don't even realize what he does. He rips cardboard boxes, he'll go for my trainers, he'll do whatever he has to do. So here in the courtyard garden, I just want to point out the beautiful Japanese anemone, which is in full flower at the moment everywhere in the garden, and it's really, really stunning. And then growing up through the middle of that is the beautiful Persicaria red devil, which has got the lovely little dainty white flower. And then next to that, we've got our Antony Boulevant hairy leaf hydrangea, which is in full flower at the moment also. But the star of the show in the courtyard, which I really want to show you, is my pineapple plant. And it really does have some amazing flowers this year. It's really come in on its own. You can see it here, and it's got the most beautiful stem, which has got like tiger print on the stem. And this year I've managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flowers. Normally I get 2, but this year I've got 5. And I think it's quite impressive. I hope you'll agree. Also in this pot here, we've got our beautiful acanthus hydrangea, which I cut back every year because somebody told me if you do, you get much bigger, stronger flowers. And it will. By the end of September, beginning of October, this will have ginormous ice cream cone flowers. And they will be really, really, really stunning. So here I'm just going to show you the banana plant because the babies are getting very big, which is telling me it's really, really time that I took it out of this galvanized pot, separate the babies, replant them, and get them ready for next year. But the banana plant this year has really, really impressed. I'm very happy with that. Up here in the kitchen garden, we've got the Tilikia. Look at those flowers on that Tilikia. It has just rocketed to the sky and it's absolutely beautiful. I love it. Also here we've got the Ligularia Desdemona or Othello, and it's got beautiful orange coloured flowers, very similar to the flower of the Tilikia and the Helianthus lemon queen in fact. And this, okay, on this side we've got the Inula, which has got very similar flower to the Tilikia, slightly bigger flower, but the Inula has completely collapsed on the floor. I don't know why. Maybe the stems have just got so long and heavy. It could probably benefit from a Chelsea chop, I think, earlier in the year. But I just love the flower. This beautiful fuchsia pink hydrangea is really stunning as well at this time of the year. And again, the Japanese anemone poking up through it. Down along this border, I want to show you in here the lovely pink fluffy sanguisorba. And I don't know, Nipo, if you can manage to come in a bit closer and just get this beautiful dainty flower on this sanguisorba. I'm really hoping that that will just shoot up and take off one day, but it seems to be slow, we'll say. And here we have our echium, and I'm again hoping that next year this is going to be so impressive. If we don't get too bad a frost, this will survive and it will rocket up into the sky and it will be full of either blue flowers or white flowers. So keep an eye out for that next year. That's going to be really wonderful. And here we have a beautiful pink phlox. And I've called this Rosemary's phlox because Rosemary, who is the lady who founded the Secret Gardens of Sligo, I went to her garden once, a few years ago. She had a beautiful showpiece of this and I begged her, I said, please, can I have some of your phlox? So she said, of course you can. She gave me a spade. I went with my sister round the back. We took a piece from the back and when we got it out of the ground, we realised we'd taken almost half the plant. Anyway, she wasn't very annoyed with us at all. So I called it Rosemary's phlox just to kind of make it a little bit sweeter for her. Next to that, we've got a beautiful limelight hydrangea, which has got these beautiful cone-shaped flowers, and they're all in full bloom at the moment. And they're actually blocking my view from the kitchen window to see the bird feeders. But never mind, I might cut it back this year. Okay, and we have this other globulea, which is a slightly different one to the one that's by the pond. The one that's by the pond has the one ball of orange, and this has got 2 balls or 3 balls, or a bunch of balls actually, on each stem. And they're still orange, but they're more yellow orange. But they're very pretty, I think you'll agree. It's just got a little bit big. I don't know whether it's going to stay there or whether I'm going to have to move it. But anyway, we shall deal with that later. Now, moving on to the rugosa rose. Obviously the flowers have finished, but we have been left with these beautiful rose hips, and I think they're equally as beautiful as the flowers themselves, and they're really stunning. So the whole bush is full of rose hips. Okay, so you remember I told you that when I looked out the window this morning, I spotted this, the magnolia tree, reflowering, and here are the beautiful cup tulip flowers, and they smell amazing. I don't know how it's flowered twice this year, because it never ever flowers twice, but maybe it's something to do with the weather. Also in this bed, the temple garden, we've got a white phlox, and we've also got the most beautiful, beautiful purple, almost midnight blue purple salvia. The name just left me then for a moment. Salvia, it's absolutely exquisite. In behind the salvia is the bear's breech, otherwise known as the acanthus. And then I want to show you the beautiful tree lily, which is just about to flower. And it's absolutely stunning. And I can imagine when it does flower, it's going to have the most beautiful aroma down this temple garden. So there is 2 beautiful examples of the Japanese anemone in the garden. One of them is here in this bed, and the other one is just down along the drive, which, going to town this morning, I realised that it's come far too out into the drive and it needs to be curtailed back a little bit because the flowers were hitting off the bonnet of the car. But it's absolutely exquisite. And then I've just spotted the dianthus down here, which commonly is known as the carnation, and it's a beautiful strawberry and cream one, which is full of flowers. So we'll head off down the drive and I'll show you a couple more of the hydrangeas and the Japanese anemone in all its glory. And then we'll go inside and we'll make that beautiful sticky ginger cake, because we haven't got long before Scooter returns home and I'm going to be in big trouble. So here we've got another beautiful hydrangea limelight. You can see the size of the flower on that one. And then we've got the white Annabelle, which is also in full bloom, all growing in this direction. I think that's because it's so windy coming up the drive. And then here we've got another fine example of the Japanese anemone, just really enjoying its situation here, but it will need to be trimmed back a little bit this year. So my friends, that is the best bits of the garden, and we'll go off inside now and make our ginger cake, and I'll see you very soon. And a little gift to myself this year for my birthday, I bought myself this beautiful Grecian vase. And I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to plant something that's going to trail out over the top and make it look equally as dramatic as it looks even without something in it. So I'm glad I treated myself. I'm worth it. Okay, you guys, so it's time for that delicious, sticky, amazing, moist ginger cake. And you know what? It's Scooter's favourite, and I'm so glad I chose this, because when he comes back, he's going to be very mad at me. So, please do try this. It's amazing, and it's super, super, super easy. There's hardly anything to it. So I'm just going to run through the list of ingredients and what you need. First of all, you need your bundt pan, or you can use a loaf pan, a 2-pound loaf pan. Then you need for a spatula and a whisk, a sieve, and then you need your dry ingredients and your wet ingredients. Your dry ingredients are 225 grams of plain flour going into the sieve. In with that, we're going to put 2 teaspoons of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and a half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. Not baking powder, bicarb of soda, or baking soda. All of that can go into the sieve, and we can give that a good sieve. Then we're going to melt together in the microwave. We're going to put 125 grams of butter, okay? And we've got 250 grams of golden syrup. Okay, so we're going to put the butter in with the golden syrup, and we're just going to melt that in the microwave. So far, that's really easy. Then we need our light golden brown sugar, which is 50 grams. And then I've also put 75 grams of chopped crystallized ginger. And what I'm going to do with that is, because it's quite sticky, I'm going to put that in with the flour when it's being sieved so that the flour can coat this so that it doesn't all stick together in one piece in the cake or it doesn't sink to the bottom. So whenever you're using fruit or anything like that in a cake, it's always a good idea to do that. Cherries especially, because otherwise they'll just sink right to the bottom and that wouldn't be good. So we've sieved our flour, our ginger, our cinnamon and our bicarb, and that's all in the bowl. And now we're going to throw in our ginger. Okay, and then we're just going to give that a stir and make sure that that ginger is nicely coated. Then the next thing you need to do is you need to preheat your oven to 150 degrees Celsius, fan, or 300 Fahrenheit, or gas mark 2. Oops, and I'm throwing flour all over me. Okay, so that's all in, and now I'm going to add the sugar. Okay, that's gone in. Give that a mix together also. And then we're just going to go now and melt our butter and our golden syrup in the microwave. And we'll add that and we'll let that cool slightly. And then we're going to add 1 large egg. The recipe calls for 1 large egg, but I'm going to use 1 large duck egg. Look at that. My friend gave me 6 beautiful duck eggs. And if you use duck eggs in cakes, they are so light and rich and moist. It's unbelievable. But I know not everybody can get their hands on duck eggs. So I'm going to use 1 large duck egg in the recipe. So I'll go ahead and melt the butter and the golden syrup now, and we'll come back and we'll pop it in here. I'll let you know how long it took to melt. My film director today is a lovely lady called Nippo from Japan. And she has just film directed me, Chris, so well because she's just said, okay, 1, 2, 3, which is what a film director should do, Chris, when he's directing a film, or she is directing a film. I feel really bad because I'm always giving out about Chris when he's filming me. But anyway, so the butter and the golden syrup have had 3.5 minutes in the microwave and it's nice and warm. So we're just going to add that into our dry ingredients and we're literally just going to incorporate it in. Okay, and that's gone in. Oh dear, isn't it so peaceful without Scooter around barking and giving out and moaning about how long the cake is. So now what we're going to do, we've added our butter and our melted golden syrup. We're going to add our 1 egg. So I'm just going to crack it into a bowl first just to make sure it's all good and nothing untoward in that egg and no shell. And there we go. I've managed to get a little piece of shell in there, so we'll scoop that out. In there. Okay, and our 1 egg is going in and we'll just give that a light beat. Or should I say a light whisk? So I hear you asking me what is the difference between a duck egg and a hen egg. Apart from the fact that I'm not a duck and I'm not a hen and I don't know the difference, I can tell you that it's got a stronger flavour. People who eat them boiled or fried would tell you it's a stronger flavour. It's not something I like to eat as in an egg. I like to use it in baking, yes, because I told you what it does for the cakes, but I'm not a fan of it as a boiled egg or a fried egg. Because it's got quite a strong poultry flavour. So my bundt pan is ready and I've literally just sprayed it with baking spray, or you can use a little bit of vegetable oil with some flour and just spread it round. And that's going to go into my bundt pan. My oven is preheating, so this is ready now to pop straight into the oven, and it will take approximately 50 minutes to an hour. We will check it after 50. I find with recipes that I'm using this bundt pan with the hole in the middle, I find the lower estimated cooking guide is the one I go with, because when I'm using a loaf pan, because it's quite dense and the middle is quite dense, I feel it does take the full cooking time. But I feel with the bundt pan, because the middle is practically not in the cake, it kind of cooks a little bit more evenly around the outside, and so it tends to do in the lower estimated time. So that's ready now, and that's ready to go into the oven. I'll pop that in and then I'll come back and I'll show you, we'll make the icing, the lovely sticky glaze for the top, but that can't go on the cake until it's completely cold. And I really can't wait for this to cool down because I'm dying for some with a nice cup of tea. And I'm sure Nipo is as well, because she just said ginger cake is her favourite too. So we struck gold, didn't we, Nipo? Yeah. Okay, so now for that lovely, sticky, gooey icing. So in this bowl, I've got 150 grams of sieved icing sugar or confectioner's sugar. I've also got 50 grams of the chopped crystallized stem ginger, and I added that to the icing sugar, so the icing sugar coated the ginger. And then I also added 1 tablespoon of the ginger syrup. But if you don't have ginger syrup, you can use 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. I also added a little bit of milk because I felt the mixture was a little bit too tight and I wanted it to be of this sort of dropping consistency. So it will slightly thicken up as well as we leave it for the cake to cool. So that is our delicious sticky ginger icing. And I really, really, really love the smell of it. So just have a wee try. Amazing. And what makes it not too sweet is the fact that it's got the ginger in there as well, so it gives it that little bit of heat. So that's the icing. We'll take the cake out, we'll let it cool completely, and then we'll come back and we'll put the icing on the top. Okay. So the cake is cool, it's out of the oven, and I'm ready to drizzle the lovely icing. He is back. I didn't have the cake ready for when he came back. However, I asked Peggy if she would stay to have tea in the fine bone china in the garden with me and Scooter, and she refused. And I'll tell you why. That boy is going to suffer because I will choke him if I can get my hands on him. He's outside, it's all picture, no sound. He hasn't spoken to me at all since he's got back. He's in the worst of humour, so it's a very good job that I've got this cake for him. So I had a word with Peggy and I said, how was your day? How did it go? What happened? So wait till you hear what he said to her. He was very mad at her for bringing him to the doggy gym. And he told her that had he have known he was going to the doggy gym, he knows a vet somewhere nearby who would have given him steroids a few weeks ago so that he could have pumped himself up to look good in front of all the other ladies. What a thing to say to somebody he's trying to marry. What is wrong with that dog, honestly? Anyway, so me and him are going to have a serious chat. I'm going to let him have cake. We're going to enjoy the cake with a nice cup of tea. We don't need to bother getting the fine bone china out because she's refused to stay. Do you know why she refused to stay? She said she doesn't want to go on camera because in case it doesn't work out with Scooter, she doesn't want to ruin her reputation. Is she for real? I'm going to have to swallow a lot of honey for this girl if she's going to enter our lives, because otherwise it might not be quite sweet, the things I say afterwards. Anyway, let's get on with icing this cake. So our lovely sticky ginger icing is ready to go on top of the cooled cake. He's just come and sat right in front of me and he's glaring at me. And I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, when is this cake going to be finished so I can have some of this cake? I've worked it all off in that gym. So he's not speaking, but we'll get there. So just pile on your lovely sticky ginger icing. Try not to get it all over the floor as I've done. There he's going to lick it now. So we're just going to spread that out now and let it run down the sides. And I have to tell you folks, if you could only smell it, it really, really smells amazing. Okay, we have a little bit more icing, so we may use it all up. Why not? Let's not waste any of it. If you find that your icing is a little bit too thick, add a little bit of milk or a little bit of lemon or a little bit of ginger syrup. Or if you find it's too thin, add a little bit more confectioner sugar, icing sugar. So there you have it, my friends. An absolutely delicious, simple, easy, delightful ginger cake that you'll never look back. Forget the Jamaican ginger cake that you buy in the plastic wrapper. This is the real thing. So I'm going to make some tea, we're going to go outside and we're going to let him have cake and then we're going to talk. See you in a minute. Okay, now time to redeem ourselves and let's cut the cake. And let's give this piece too. Look at that, folks. How delicious does that look? Let's give that to the little man. Because actually, I think we're going to be in a lot of trouble today. Okay. And one slice for me. And one slice for Nipo, who's my film crew today, who's done an amazing job. We're going to really enjoy this delicious ginger cake. So there you are, folks. Nice cup of tea to go alongside. Okay, he's come to the table and he's prepared now to have a discussion. We are going to talk about this quite frankly and quite seriously over cake and tea. So come join us. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss another episode of this young man again and his antics. And let's sweeten him up now and let him have his ginger cake. Now, who's that for? Oh, he's saying that's yummy. Is that yummy, Scoots?